All right, we are live. Welcome to the live show. My guest today is from Bigfooting Indiana Facebook group, Matthew McGuire. How you doing today?
Oh, doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. So let's just jump right into it. What got you first started into this subject of Bigfoot? What caught your interest, and how young were you?
Well, like some people, they've either read a story, or seen a movie or something, that's kind of got their interest going at first. For me, like I tell a lot of people, I guess you can say that I had three things happen at once. I had it pretty much jump into my life, made me a believer and a knower all in one shot. I was about 10 years old, and we were down in southern part of Indiana, down in Brown County, and we would spend down there and spend a couple of weeks with some family of mine. I was probably, like I say, about 10 years old. This was 78, 79, I believe it was. And me and my cousin, some friends of his, we'd went out into the woods and was exploring at the time, just being kids, going out checking things out. We'd been walking along on this game trail, and the foliage and everything was on pretty heavy, and we're talking middle of summer. And the
Right.
little boy, one little boy was right in front of me. We was kind of following each other down this trail. I really wasn't looking around or anything. I was more or less watching my feet because the trail was pretty narrow, and all the undergrowth and everything, it'd trip you up pretty easy. Well, the little boy in front of me stopped, and we got to this little ravine. I'd stepped out around him, and about the time I stepped around him, I wanted to see what was on down toward the bottom of the ravine, what was in that valley there.
Right.
And about the time I stepped around him, I had one jump down from my left down straight in front of me. And we're talking every bit of within arm's reach. So probably within a couple of feet, less than 2 feet. I mean, I could have easily
Wow.
touched it. And I really didn't know what I was looking at, but it was, like I try to explain to some people, you'll get them things that'll happen in your life that ingrains in your mind and you just can't shake them. It's like for lack of better words, it's like a traumatic experience that'll
Yeah, it's
happen.
just etched into your memory forever.
Correct. And I still, even today, I can still see this hair. It wasn't fur. I mean, it was truly hair that was hanging on this. It was just coal black. And I've been meaning to do some sketches of it because I do a little doodling on the artwork stuff every now and then. I've been meaning to sketch this down just to kind of give everybody an idea of what I was looking at. But anyway, when this had jumped down in front of me, being a young boy, I just froze. I didn't know what I was looking at. All I knew was it was big, and this thing standing in front of me. Uh, Never smelled anything. It never made any sounds, nothing like that. And just as soon as it jumped down, it straightened itself standing upright and immediately went to my right. Well, naturally, we all just tore out of there. Fear finally sunk into, hey, move. And several years later, I talked to my cousin who was way on at the back behind us. I said, you remember that day? And he's like, yeah. I said, what'd you see? And he really didn't want to talk too much about it, but the only thing he did say is it was big, and whatever it was, it tore through the underbrush like it wasn't even there. And
Wow.
as far as I know to this day, he's never really been back out. I'm sure he's been out and he's done some deer hunting and stuff. But as far as running across anything, if he has, he hadn't really said anything else about it. And
Right.
from there, I just pretty much kind of put it out of my head and threw out my life up to now, I've had some experiences, encounters, and stuff like this. It keeps drawing me back out, and
Right.
finally, probably about 6 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. Real good buddy of mine. He's also the admin, one of the admins in my group. Had talked me back into going into back out camping and everything. And me and him had discussed some of my encounters and what I'd seen that day. And he kind of, okay, but he didn't really buy into it. Not really seeing anything like this.
Right.
So I
Skeptical.
exactly. But what was the crazy part of it was the very first night we went to this spot he had, we had two very impressive tree knocks, and one was off to one side, and the other one was off to the other. It was almost like a response, and that's the next. I think I want to say it was like the next day that we went on back into this property that we were camping on, and that's when we found tracks and all this. And it seemed like every night, every time we'd go back out there, this particular spot, we were constantly getting either, well, the one night we had a howl. It was just, it was hair curling. I mean, I never heard anything like that.
How far
And
away do you think it was?
this particular property was about 72 acres, and there was two big valleys on this property. Where we came in and where our campsite, or what we called our main campsite, we were on the top of the hill right at the edge of the first valley. Then on back, it can't have been that far to the ridge. If you went straight across, I would say maybe a couple hundred yards. I mean, it's not a real far, wide valley. It just looks broad when you're looking at
Right.
it.
So he was pretty close to you. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was he was just up on, or it was just up on that next ridge, and it went on for every bit of 15 minutes or better.
Wow, that's a
And
long time.
yeah, this one spot in particular, we'd had the howls, the tree knocks. We'd had a couple of the young ones come into the camp one night while we were in the tent. You could hear them out there, and this was the first time that I'd ever heard the young ones, and they really do when they're uh, cutting up, whatever playing. They honestly sound like little kids laughing, and that's what drew my attention. Why would anybody have their kids out in the middle of the woods that late at night? And then it hit me.
Yeah, no one.
Wait a minute, we're we're on 70 plus acres of ground. This is private property.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's out there.
But we found the tracks of the young. They were wasn't really long, but it was that width. That's what gave it away that this wasn't a human footprint.
Yeah, they're a
And
lot wider, being outside all the time and just,
right,
being Bigfoot.
but we was just a little over 4 years ago, before the gentleman owned the property passed away. My wife and I was fortunate enough to go down during the early summer. I wanted to show her where we was at, and I wanted to try a different technique. I wanted to go in very stealth like, not be talking, move very slowly, not be stepping on limbs, pretty much just easing into the
Yeah,
area.
stalking in like you would be hunting and stuff.
Right. And, this is the middle of the day, and we done this, and we were fortunate enough to walk in, and we was able to watch. It was somewhere between 7 and 8 foot. Another one, coal black, beautiful. I mean, this thing was just most beautiful black. And we watched that one for, oh, wow, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And we just kind of moved back away. And it was probably, from where we was at to where it was probably around 40, 50 yards out. And we just moved back up the trail away from it. We didn't want to, push. We didn't want to do anything to aggravate or agitate.
So what was
And
it
that
doing?
it was laying on the side of the hill, and it was kind of comical, really, because early spring like that, everything's still got that dead look to it, and
Right,
the
things are just
grass,
coming in. Yep.
yeah, the grass on the side of the hill is like it's almost like a wheat right before you harvest it. It's got that gold color to it,
Yep.
and this thing had made its way about halfway up the hill and decided to lay down on the side of the hill, and it was taking its hand and it was laying on its left side, and it was taking its hand and it was laying the grass over and was watching us. And the funny part about it was it's coal black laying in gold grass. It's not hiding. We can see him. It was kind of
Right. Right.
funny.
He stands out.
Oh yeah, yeah, he stood out big time. But I've had a lot of good encounters down there, and we watched, like I said, we watched that one, and we made our way back up the hill just a little bit, and it went up the hill it was laying on, and got behind a tree and was leaning out tree peak and watching us. And we had, like I say, you know, we was able to go down there a few more times after that, but then the gentleman passed, and then the people who took over really didn't want us in there, even just doing that. We wasn't destroying anything or nothing, but they were just kind of funny about it.
Right.
But now I have been in different places here in the state of Indiana and have been fortunate enough to see them not only there but other places as well, and had them come into the camp. They'll stay just outside of the light of the fire, but had them walk around the camp. I've had them come up to my truck when I'm laying in the back end of it. And, that one kind of aggravated me because I really wanted to see that one. But the time I got myself dug out of that sleeping bag, he was gone, and it was, one of them odd nuts kind of things. I was wanting to really see that one, but uh,
So did you hear him walk up, or how did that situation happen?
when they came to the camp,
Yeah, when they came into the back of your truck and you tried to take a look at him.
well, what it is, I got a fiberglass topper on my truck,
Right.
and instead of loading my big slide-in camper on and all this, I just threw a sleeping bag back here, and I was already laying back here and pretty much out, but I got that funny feeling something just told me to wake up. You need to look, and I don't know if it was just a weird sense I have of somebody watching me or what, but when I opened my eyes and I looked back to the back end of the truck where the uh, tailgate and everything is, that's where it was standing right there. And this thing was massive. He was almost as wide as the back of my truck.
Wow.
And I'm trying to hurry up and lean up out of the sleeping bag and get it unzipped and everything. And in that time I was doing that, I'm watching him, and I could see him move off. And by the time I did get to set up and get up where I could look out, he was already gone. But yeah, it was quite obvious what it was. It was the size. Man, that thing was just massive.
Yeah, and if they don't have bears in Indiana, but if it was a bear, it would stick around and you'd be able to tell, and
Hmm.
it'd probably make some huffing noises, and it'd be
Oh
attracted
yeah,
to your food. You'd be after your food anyway, so
yeah. And there I'd have a problem. I like my food, so.
Right. And
But
there's no black bears in Indiana and stuff, of course.
no, not that I'm aware of.
Right. Not yet.
But I've people kind of get on to me because I go out solo a lot of times,
I'm the
and
same way, but
people, and I do stress this, to other people also in my group and everything. It's really not a good idea, and I know I need to practice what I preach, but it's really not a good idea to be out there. If you're going to go out, make sure you're close to your vehicle, and all this. Don't be out, wandering through the woods on trails and stuff. That's never really a good idea.
yeah, you need to be
And
prepared.
right. And now there's some places that I do like to visit every now and then, and every time I've had really really good responses. I've even taken some people with me, and it's a good place to park. You can get out. It's all pretty nice and leveled out, and they'll come right up pretty much to the edge of the road where you're at, and had great eye shine and everything. And like I say, they followed me back over to my campsite. I had the one. I just went back over, just leaned up against the picnic table. I've been doing some audio work, and I kept hearing something walking. And I thought somebody, from another campsite was coming over to me. And then I got to realizing I'm pretty much the only one out here. And so I sat there at the picnic table for quite a while, and it circled me. It went all the way around my campsite, but it never bothered me. That's the one thing I can say, knock on wood, so far, all my encounters and everything have been pretty friendly. I
Right.
haven't had any, I've heard stories about bluff charges and stuff like this, and I haven't experienced anything like that yet. Now, I have experienced them, you know, with the infrasound. I've been hit with that a couple of times, and that's no fun. But, they'll ward you off, but I haven't been aggressed. I always try to, as
Right.
soon as I start getting that feeling, I try to leave, to kind of
Yeah,
be
same here. I've
respectful.
never had any bad interaction. I have been bluff charged my first interaction, but it wasn't an actual bluff charge. Like it wasn't being aggressive or anything. I heard it across the road and it crossed the road and dashed towards me, but I it wasn't aggressive. Nothing
Yeah.
happened. So when you got hit with infrasound, did you get sick like the people on the TV show? I can't remember that guy's first name, but Expedition Bigfoot. The first
Mm-hmm.
episode, the guy got hit. He's out, and then did you see the latest episode?
I haven't watched any of it yet.
Okay. Well,
I've been wanting to.
they apparently got hit with infrasound. Two different guys, and they got sick and said they got headaches and felt weird. And did you feel anything when you got hit?
Well, the first time uh, when we were walking down the trail, my wife was with me, and she had said something about, I feel like somebody's watching me, and I didn't want to say anything to her because I know how some people are in a new area. They're going to get a little spooked. Mine's
Right.
going to
Yeah.
start playing games. So it's I don't like to be the one saying, "Oh yeah, we're being stalked." I don't want to do that. I try to be as pretty cool about everything,
Yeah.
especially when I'm out there. But I didn't say anything, and then I walked maybe another 10, 15 feet, and that's when I got hit. And it straight up felt like somebody punched me in the guts. I mean, I didn't want to say anything at the time because, I didn't want to get her in a panic, or I didn't know if we took off running what would happen or not. So I'm trying to be cool and
Right.
calm about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it straight up felt like I got hit in the guts. But now the second time I got hit, I kind of felt like I might have, but I wasn't for sure. But on the drive home, I started feeling kind of down. Started feeling like you was getting a flu coming on or something. And time I got home and got out of the truck, I stood out here in the driveway for a little bit. Well, I mean, I was feeling pretty tough. I mean, it was bad. And I came in and remember laying down on the couch for a while. And I had to get some rest. I mean, it plain old just zapped me. And the weird part about it was this time they hit me good because it hung on for a couple of days. And
Huh.
I don't know if this had anything to do with it or not, but it was like I want to say it was the next day. I came in from work and got on my mower, and I was out here mowing the yard, and for no reason my nose just took off to bleeding. And I was like, well, what in the world? And I was still feeling pretty down and everything, but I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not.
Uh,
But it only,
Possibly. I mean, it's kind of rare to
it,
get nosebleeds. I mean, it happens to
it
people, but
yeah, I don't get them. I mean, I hardly
right.
ever, you
Yeah,
know.
same here.
But yeah, that hit me, and so far I haven't really had any problems. Now I have been really lucky to get with a gentleman. You've probably seen some of his videos. He's on YouTube. Greg the Squatch Man Yost. He's got
Oh yeah.
videos Journey to the Truth, and I've been fortunate enough to make good friends with him and the team and all this, and been out with him and been squatching with him and all this, and I've learned quite a bit. And now I'm starting to understand more about how to prepare myself when I go out. And the last time, or one of the last times I was out before it got really cold, uh, I went out, and when I left, how would you say, the energy was different. It was like a more positive type vibe in the air. It just really felt good, and had great eye shine. We got to hear one speak out in the woods. I had a guy with me, and he was, it was kind of funny because his eyes were just huge. He's like, "Wow, did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I had the parabolic on it, real loud in the mic." And but we had a really good time. And now that I've been hanging with Squatch Man, he's been teaching me and showing me some things, and how to better prepare myself when I go out. And now my encounters have gotten a whole lot better. I've even, not that they wasn't really bad to begin with, but I've been noticing that it seems like I don't know how, I really don't want to say I've been out there shaking hands with them. I don't want to say that, but I've noticed that they come to my camp more when I'm out. The eye shine. I get great eye shine shows. I mean, it's really amazing. I love being
So
out there with them.
that's them self illuminating their eyes. You're not shining a light on them, right? They're doing
Oh
it
no,
themselves.
that's them doing it themselves.
Right.
No, I don't try to shine lights out on them because I know they don't like that. And a lot of times when I go to the field, I'll do live stream on my page and everything, so
Yep. Yep.
people who can't get out, they can be a part of what I'm doing. There's some people that's just not able to get out in the woods, so I try to bring them in by doing the live stream, and have it's I try to keep the light down even on the phone and everything. I try to do everything off my phone, so I try to keep that light down. And a lot of times, how I do that is I'll turn the angle of the camera around to show outward, and it makes my screen black because it's not picking up any light.
Right. Right. It's not night
And
vision.
right, I I'm telling you, I mean, it's when you start learning, you know, more about how to go out and how to prepare yourself. It seems like it's a lot better. One thing that I did have learned is less is more. A lot of people, when I first started out, I did a lot of the trail cams. Um, I was trying the whoops and the wood knocks, and I was trying everything, and I really wasn't getting much. Now that I pulled away from the trail cams, the I got night vision goggles. I've used them maybe once or twice. And I just don't even use them anymore. And I just carry my phone with me. That way I can record. If I need to, and it's something small and easy to carry.
Right.
The less technology that I take with me, the better it is.
The more
You
activity
know.
you think you're having, you see an
Oh
uptick in
yeah,
activity.
yeah. I've seen a change in the activity just by taking less gear with me. I don't know if they pick up on it, they know what's going on, or what it's about, or uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I it seems like it. A lot of people, it's like that. I know a lot of years I didn't have any technology out there, and I'd have encounters. And since bringing technology, I can't say it's an uptick or downtick for me, but uh, I can't see a difference for me myself. But I have heard that trail cams, they don't work and stuff. But I've caught some stuff on camera, having a camera out there. So
yeah.
I
I
think
mean, I'm
whatever
not
whatever
saying
whatever works for you in the area and whatever they respond
mhm,
to, just flow with it. I think.
right now. I'm not saying trail cameras don't work. I'm just saying that I found that they seem to know where they're at.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
they can just easily spot them. It obviously sticks out to them in their environment.
right. Even when I tried to hide them as good as I could, they still, it's like I'd get a lot of something that would trip the camera, but it never would catch anything.
Right.
And it's like, okay, they're messing with it. So I finally just pulled all my cameras in, and then we just started going out to the one particular spot, and with no cameras besides, like I say, the cell phone and such. And now the parabolic, that don't seem to bother them too much. I've been able to really zero in and listen to them pretty well with the parabolic. That don't seem to really bother them.
Right, and
But
that you would think that it would bother them. I mean, it's a kind of a big thing. It's bigger than a camera most times, and
mm,
so if they're not shy of that, they shouldn't really be shy of other technology you're holding. A trail cam's
right,
different because it's just sitting out there, and they probably see people putting it out. But when you bring stuff, you're taking it out, and obviously you leave the trail camera in there, so they stay away from that.
yeah. Now I do have a GoPro, and I've been trying to figure out some way to put it behind me. Maybe like fasten it on the back of my hat, or somewhere like that. I even thought about, because there's a couple places I like to drive through, trying to find somewhere on the back of my truck to mount it where I can get a small
Yep.
camera aiming back, because you never know when something's going to cross behind you. But there have been times I've been out in the field, and I know good and well they've crossed right behind me, and it's like, man,
Yep.
if I just had that camera pointing back that way, I probably could have, but who knows? But I try not to. The areas that I go to, the ones I frequent the most, I try not to push them too much, and it seems like they pick up on that, so they're a little more interactive, by me not pushing them as much.
Yeah, I have interaction a lot, and it seems like they don't mind people. They don't.
Hmm.
Indiana's a place where you wouldn't really think Bigfoot. It's not like a big wilderness state. It's not mountainous, but you have had a lot of encounters, and I'm sure there's a lot of reports down there too.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
they're
You
in
get
places
down
where people,
south.
they obviously don't mind people because they're right in people's backyards and back property, but it's
Hmm.
not like major wilderness, so they're pretty used to people in my opinion. Michigan's the same way, Lower Michigan's the same way. It's just farmland and
Yeah, you get north of Indianapolis, and it starts flattening out, and really not a lot of good places. But I'm kind of shocked. I've got one place straight east of me here. I got to go check out, and I would never would have dreamed out of that area, but I got to go check it out here pretty soon. I got some pretty good reports out of that. But you get south of Indy down there in the southern part of Indiana, it's actually it's almost like a lot of Tennessee, Kentucky terrain. You got a lot of hills and hollers and stuff
right,
like
right,
that. And there is quite a bit of woodland down through there still. But yeah,
right.
southern Indiana. Well, Indiana in general is pretty squatchy. It's a lot squatchier than what people think it is.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell of being squatchy, but through your research, it clearly is. And I feel
Oh
Michigan's
yeah,
the same way. It's kind of underrated.
yeah. Now I've heard quite a few reports up out of the UP there, about some squatch up through that way.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
oh
seems
yeah.
seems like depending on where you go at too, you get a different type of squatch. Like the further south you go, they get a little more aggressive. It seems like you hear a lot more. I don't know, more aggressive stories out of them. But you get up around here in Indiana. I mean, I've heard. I got one guy that was telling me about uh, his family had been in. They took an old bus, an old school bus, converted it into a camper. They took the chassis out from under and just had the thing sitting on the ground and made a like a hunting camper, I guess,
Oh, okay, yep,
hunting lodge.
yep.
And I guess they had a squatch try to get in the doors, and this was one of the older style buses that had the old metal rod that went out to the door, and it, would swing the doors outward. And
Hmm.
they had the door chained from the inside just to keep critters from getting in. But I guess this one messed around with that door for quite a while, and was trying, bending doors and all this. Never got in on them, but I would think that if it wanted in bad enough, it probably could have. But I don't know if it was just trying to scare them out
Right.
or what.
You never know. They're kind of unpredictable in some senses. They're pretty predictable in others. Like, when you go out, I can predict that, they're at most they're going to do a certain number of things, But then there's always unpredictable stuff where they do kind of mess around and slap people's houses, look in windows, or bluff charge people out of the area. So I think they're just individuals. Each one has its own
Mm,
experience with humans, and each one decides what to do when they see people in the woods, I guess.
yeah, I think a lot of times they're no different than some people. They just like to do the little prank thing just to see what you'll do.
Yeah, I
Like
think
try
that
to.
yeah, I think that it works for them, just scaring people out of the woods instead of
Hmm.
hurting people. Because if they hurt people or kidnap people, it usually brings more people into the area searching for those lost people, and they don't want a search crew in there and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's why when I don't mind taking people out, and even on my page, when I'm doing videos and stuff, you know I I'll invite people, and I still even now, I take just about anybody with me, but I try to keep the numbers down, maybe just to a handful of people at the most.
Right.
I don't like taking big groups out or nothing like that, because I think the more people you have, they're going to be a little more leery about coming around you. But
Right.
the smaller the groups, I know as an individual myself going out, if the activity really picks up a lot.
Yeah.
But
When you're by
if you got
yourself,
just,
it's yeah.
yeah, it gets really, really entertaining at times. And, but yeah, I don't mind taking people out, taking them with me and everything. And one gentleman I took out, he was just getting into this. I mean, he had a lot of interest in everything. And I told him, I said, well, no, don't expect anything. Don't go out, thinking, hey, we're going to get a Class A sighting or nothing like that. Don't do that. But instead, that was the first time I took him with me, and we got to hear that one out there talk. And I didn't know. I never seen a guy's eyes get quite that big before. It was pretty
Yeah.
neat.
It's
But,
exciting
you
experience when you
oh
first see it
yeah,
happen. You have that realization that wow, there is something actually out there.
right. Yeah, I have a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Gets ridiculed and gets ribbed pretty hard about it from time to time. But I usually tell them, well, hey, more than welcome to tag along and come out here with me if you want to, and
Right.
I'll try to show you something a little different. But yeah, it's this ever since the first sighting and a lot of the encounters and stuff that I've had and the evidence I've found and everything, this has been truly a crazy ride. It really has. I mean, just when you think you really learned something about them, they throw you a curveball and you got something new to learn about
Yeah.
them. There was. I know this gets on a subject that a lot of people are not real sure of, but I I won't go too deep into it. But I will say this because the reason why I won't go too deep is because I've got an upcoming interview with Tony Merkel on Confessionals here in about a month, and I'm going to be really telling some things about this that it's kind of mind blowing, really, for even for me, because I never would have expected it. But when people talk about how fast they are truly fast. But I think there's more to it than just a blinding speed that they have. I think there's something else going on there because I went down to southern part of Indiana just this year, and it was right here toward the end of the year, and I was going to a particular site. I won't say where I was at, but I was going into this particular site, and one of my admins was already there at the campsite, and I was talking to him on the phone, and he was trying to guide me in because I wasn't for sure where to turn and go in, how to get back in there, and it was right at dusk. And he was telling me, he said, "Oh, I see your headlights." He said, "Oh, he said, okay, just here's what you do." Well, in the meantime, while he's talking to me, I turned left off the road to go on this little trail, a gravel road. And as soon as I did, I had to slam on the brakes. I mean, just like, wow. And immediately there's one right there on my right, on the side of the, right up next to the trees, the side of the road. When this thing took off, it was, I know people ain't going to really buy into this, but this is the truth. I can't lie about it. It was just a blur and gone. And I'm watching, I'm like, where in the world did this thing go? And I'm expecting to hear it run off because now I have had an experience where one had broke a small tree down beside the trail I was on and took off down the hill, and you could hear it breaking limbs off as it ran down the hill. So I'm thinking, where did this one go? What did I just miss? I didn't see, but it was there, like a blur and gone. It's like what you'd see on TV, kind of like that trick photography stuff. But that's what's leading me to believe that, through over a course of time, I think there's more to them than just being a flesh and blood type thing. I think there's something else going on.
Going
And
over towards the woo side, just a little
yeah,
bit.
I there's some things that's pulling me in that direction
Well,
because I can't
whatever
explain it.
experiences take you, I guess,
Yeah, because I really can't explain it. I mean, I really haven't talked to too many people about it, and but like I say, when I do the interview with Tony Merkel, I'm kind of saving the rest of this for that.
Yeah.
But I did talk to another searcher because I wasn't for sure what I was dealing with. I thought it was just me, my own mind messing with me. And
Right.
when I explained to them, what was going on, the answers I got was not what I was expecting, and I was pretty blown away with it. I was thrilled, but at the same time, I was kind of like, "You got to be kidding," seriously.
Right.
But then when I looked,
I've had a pretty extreme strange encounters myself. My video is called "Bigfoot Following Me Out of the New Area," Part 1 and 2.
mhm,
During the expedition, I literally walked up and I was hearing stuff literally right there, and I thought it was a squirrel at first, and I'm waiting to see, and I keep hearing it, and I walk right there, and there's nothing, and I keep hearing stuff walking around me. I start walking towards my car, and I get followed out of the woods, and at one point there's two of them, and they go around me, and I cannot see them, but I can hear them, and they're right there, and
mhm.
I can't explain it, and they followed me all the way to my car. But I never could see them, but they were close enough where I thought for sure I could, see them, and I was gonna get them on camera. But
Right,
so it's
yeah,
a lot of unknowns out there in the woods.
exactly. That's what's throwed me off about this, because when I first got started, really pursuing it, this whole study, my ideas about what it could be was mainly straight up just it's one thing.
Right.
And now with the experiences and the encounters and everything else, and matter of fact, I know I'm kind of getting the chills thinking about this. Uh, Matter of fact, it's a little tough to even really talk about, but the uh, the first sighting when I was a little boy, I mean, I thought that was a pretty close encounter. But
Right.
uh, the encounter I had, not matter of fact, it was just this year. That was that was really close. I mean, Well, I mean that was something else. But
We got
yeah, I get a little weirded out even just thinking about that. So
the reason why we can't see your face and stuff is you got to allow StreamYard access, and all it's gonna do is use your Facebook profile picture and basically put it up on here. So growing up, I always thought Bigfoot was a as flesh and blood creature, but I'm not so sure that's 100% the case now.
yeah,
So there's a lot of weird stuff out there, and a lot. I think there's more out there than Bigfoot too. So it it's quite the mystery out there in the woods. And
so
so
you're having trouble with my video, or
you are
no? You
you're
say you're having trouble.
oh no, you're good on my end.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you were having trouble seeing me or something.
No, it was the comments and stuff. You gotta the people on my Facebook group, they comment. They have to allow StreamYard access to their profile picture for it to show up.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
So before you get into this the encounter you're just about to talk about, when you were a kid, was it in a tree? Did it like was it behind a tree? Because you say it ran out and it was like right next to you. Was it in a tree? Was it behind a tree?
Well, that's the thing that I'm not. I'm still kind of on the fence on because you know, it happened so quick. That was the thing. Uh,
Right.
I'm wanting to say it was up on the side of a tree, maybe stand up on a rock, or it was up. I know it was up because it jumped down in front of me. And, like when you say, like you jump all out of the bed of a pickup truck, how you kind of bend the knees and then stand back up.
Right.
That's what this did. So it was obviously it was standing on something, or it was right there. And how in the world we walked right up there and never saw it, I don't know. But I
Well,
know we
you
never.
know, I think it's simple. I mean, people walk by them all the time, and being young and kids, you're not paying attention.
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. I've had people ask me, did you ever feel afraid, or like it was going to get you or anything? I never got that. I mean, but then again, being a little kid and I really wasn't expecting it, and the only thing I'm thinking is there's something really big standing in front of me that's black and hairy, and I've never seen anything like this, and I'm just froze, you know, because I'm looking pretty much at the side of its leg, and I mean, this thing was just huge. To me, it was big. For a 10-year-old kid, it's going to be really big. But then the ones been fortunate enough to see here in the past few years, they they ain't really varied from the size. I mean, they're still just a massive being. They're very big. But like the one me and my wife got to see, it was about a 7 or 8 footer. It was somewhere in that area. And now I've had the one that was at the back of my truck. Man, I couldn't tell you. I all I know was that thing was he was broad. I mean, big
Yeah,
broad.
massive.
Yeah. I mean, because as soon as I opened my eyes and looked up and realized what I'm staring at, it's like, oh wow. I mean, this thing he was big. I'd love to have seen that one, more in detail, but unfortunately, that old mummy sleeping bag had me pinned down pretty good, so I couldn't get out of it.
Right.
But I've had really good encounters though. I've had really good encounters. I've had some really good sightings, and like I say, the the two the two things that I really don't know if you want to call them encounter. One of them I call an encounter. The other, man, I really don't know what to say about that one. But that's what I'm going to be bringing up on, later on. But right now, I'm still myself kind of on the fence on a lot of it because I'm not for sure either. I did have another searcher telling me about, an incident. Well, not really an incident, but something similar had happened to them. And so that's what's leading me to think maybe there's more to these than just, you know, a flesh and blood type thing. I really don't want to come right out and say, you know, oh yeah, they're alien or anything like that. I don't want to do that because I don't know.
Right.
All I know is what's happened to me, what I've encountered, what I've seen, and that's the only thing I can really base everything off of is just what I see myself personally. But
Yeah, you know,
I've heard,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've heard, you know, several people, you know, talk about some, you know, things like this, and by chance, I just happened to catch a program not too long ago. Matter of fact, it was on, oh, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and the guy was talking about uh, could see one running toward him, and then it just like it disappeared, but it was still you could still hear it running,
Mm,
and then it ran right past him, but you couldn't see it,
right.
and you know, so that you know, if I hadn't had the things happen to me that had happened already, I would have probably said, well, you know, that story's kind of shady, but yeah, I really can't rule it out 100% after having happened what it did to me. So
Right. I feel the same way. I've had some weird stuff happen in the woods and encounters with a different cryptid. I think and some paranormal ghost stuff has happened before too. So I know there's things out there that can happen and a lot of things
mm-hmm.
we don't see and um, yeah, a lot of the Native Americans say that they're a spirit guardian of the woods, or they have magic powers that can, or they can hypnotize you, or they uh, they know medicine and they can collect plants and make you know stuff to magic and hypnotize you, I guess. And
Right.
so there's all that story of through the natives that they can do things like that, or that they have the language, they speak and they talk, and so who knows, because we
Yeah.
obviously don't know.
Right.
And
Yeah. But
oh, go ahead.
I'm definitely looking forward to going back out. I was hoping to go out this Saturday, but I got part of the weather report, and it's like, oh, you got to be kidding me, you know. So
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to get to go out this Saturday or not. I'm going to try, but no guarantees.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get out tomorrow, so hopefully this weekend. And but I got some trips planned and stuff for this summer and the fall. So that brings up you hosted your own camp out this year, and you're planning on having some more.
Yeah. Well, we had our first annual Bigfooting Indiana Campout. It was had it in the fall of 2019, and Greg Squatchman Yost was my guest speaker, and we had a few people, a pretty good number turnout for the first one, and had some real good times out there. Got to spend some time in the woods, and you know we got some great eye shine and all this, and you know Greg has always you know never been disappointing by any means. I am really happy I met this guy. But we got another one coming up. It's going to be. I'm shooting for around the month of April is what I'm shooting for. Uh, that's part of what I was wanting to do this weekend was go down and check out a potential spot for our spring outing and try to get something set up. And then we're going to do. I'm trying to. What my goal is to do a spring and fall outing every year. And if it keeps going like it did already, I want to try to do a little something during the summer. Now, I do know some people say they don't really have a lot of good activity during the summer, but you know that's when a lot of people get their vacations and stuff like this. They got a little
Right.
vacation time they want to cut loose. You know, nothing else. We can go out. We can do some trail hiking and you know learn from each other. You know, stories, do interviews, whatever. You know, I'm good with all that. But I'm trying to get it you know set up good and solid where we can do the spring and the fall outing, and we may go back and revisit some places. But until then, I want to try to kind of move it around a little bit so we got new spots to go to. to kind of keep it fresh and everything.
Right.
But yeah, we had a really good, like I said, we had a good time the first time around, and I've got a couple of people that's already showed some interest in possibly being guest speakers for the spring outing, and one of them in particular is Ed Brown. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. He's
I'm not sure. Does he have a group or anything he runs, or any?
Yeah, he did my very first interview on Big Truth Productions on
Okay.
YouTube, and that's still on there. It's under Matthew McGuire Share Sasquatch Encounters. That's on YouTube, and it talks about my first sighting that I talked about, and it also talks about the encounter I had while I was at Fort Stewart when I was in service, and it tells a little bit about that if anybody wants to check that out. But Ed spoke at a lot of conferences and everything. He's pretty well known in a lot of circles of the Bigfooting community. And I've got a couple other people in mind that are I've talked to already before, and I've already left an open door for them and all this. So I'm gonna try to keep the guest speakers going and working on getting some new T-shirts made up. I was really shocked at the few that I got went as fast as they did. I was kind of happy, really, because I really didn't want to
Yeah.
bring all them back home. So, but yeah, working on getting some new T-shirts made and hats and stuff like that with our logo. And I sell everything it costs. I don't make any money on it. That's one thing I try to stress to everybody is even though I offer products for sale, I don't try to I don't want to, I don't want to mark them up because I understand a lot of the T-shirts and stuff that I've seen at the events and online, and they get pretty pricey. So I
Right.
don't want to
Right.
do that. I want to be able to, try to give people stuff, at my cost. Like for my T-shirts, it cost me $20, so that's what I sell them for. I don't, I don't want. I just want to recover my cost of what I put in them, and that's it. I'm not making any profit. But it's just to kind of keep it, the Bigfoot name going. Not only just my group, but the study itself. Get it out there a little more.
Right.
We got some other projects we're working on for this year. Got one I'm not for sure yet. I'm gonna kind of keep that under wraps because I'm not for sure, how I'm
No, it's
gonna do
okay. I know
that
how
one
it is.
yet.
I got some stuff planning, and I know how it is.
Yeah, so we're wanting to try to get it going. Uh, Now our town here, we have a little town festival every year, and I thought about maybe getting a little crazy and setting up a booth this year. And because I've got some of the
Yeah,
people
that'd be
here in
sweet.
town that I've talked to, and when they found out what I'm doing and everything, they're like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me! You don't really ever see these." Then when I show them the picture of the one that's about 20 feet away, they're like, "Oh, this is real. Okay."
Right.
So it's like, all
Yeah.
right. So I'm thinking about setting up a booth this year and maybe getting the name out there. Bring some evidence, have some searchers come in, bring some of their evidence in, and kind of put out there with it. Just get the whole study itself out more out in public eye. Not
Right.
that
You
it
might
ain't already, but
get some reports and stuff. People might come forward and talk to you about
yeah.
experiences. Might get some new spots. Who knows?
Oh yeah. One of the crazy things is, and I know this is kind of small beans, but I started this group beginning of last year, and I didn't know if I really was going to if it was going to go anywhere or do anything. And like I say, I know it's small beans to a lot of people, but to me, I'm like, woohoo, it's going. But
Yeah.
I looked at the numbers today, and it's like, holy cow, we broke over 500 members. It's like this is sweet.
Yeah.
So,
Heck yeah. You got a good group going and stuff.
well, I
We
try,
got a lot
man.
of
I
good
mean,
stuff going and posting and people interacting and stuff. I hope my group's like that too. It's just starting out and got a lot of
oh
good people here
yeah,
so far, and it is exciting. It's fun. It's a good place to hang out and
oh yeah. I try to keep all the drama and all the bad stuff off of there. I'm
yep.
very, very strict on the language. But the whole idea of how my page is and how I want it to go is I want people to be able to, if they're online looking at my page, the Bigfooting Indiana page, that if the kids walk in, they ain't got to hurry up and shut the computer down. Oh, there's something bad on
Right.
there. Something. I don't want that. I want, a 5-year-old to get on there and be able to look at stuff, or somebody that's 90 years old be able to look at it, and there's nobody getting offended, nothing like. I want to try to keep this as
Right.
family friendly as possible, because we all know, man, this world's a mess, and there's enough bad out there. We don't need to see anymore, and I don't want people seeing it on my page either.
Yeah, and the
So I try
drama
to
doesn't
keep.
help. It doesn't help the
No,
research. It doesn't make anything progress the way we need to.
right,
It just muddies the
right,
waters and nothing gets done.
right. So, like with your group and everything, man, hey, feel free, get on there, and if you got a video or something coming up, don't, hey, put it on, man. We'd love to see it. It's an open door here. We just, like I said, I just try to keep them clean and keep it friendly and family friendly, and
Yep.
that's my
Yeah.
main goal, and just have everybody enjoy. I look forward to hoping this spring outing, we get, quite a few more people to show up, because, man, I was pretty stoked, in the fall outing, but same time I'm like, starting to kind of freak out, because it's like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting this many. So
Yeah, and more are probably gonna show up on each and every time.
yeah, but that's cool, man. I'm good with it. I love hearing people's
Yeah.
stories and meeting new people and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been an interesting ride, and met a lot of interesting people too. I mean, you know how that goes. I'm sure you ran across, those, that really,
Uh.
really get your attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. There's a lot of people doing their own thing, and they're however way which way they like to do it, and
yeah,
I
yeah, there's
I basically is if you're getting evidence and stuff of stuff, then it's working for you, I guess, right? So
right,
as long as
right.
you're being truthful about it, because there are
That's
people
it.
out there. I'm pretty sure they're faking stuff. Or their claims are just too extraordinary for it to be happening
Right.
without better evidence.
Yeah, and with that being said, that's the one big thing, that I have found in this particular field. Honesty is very, very important.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, if you start bringing a bunch of fake evidence, or trying to, uh, get people to believe the stuff you have is real and it's actually fake, it'll pull away from your credibility.
It only takes
If
one
you,
time, and
yeah,
in my
oh
opinion,
yeah,
really, like one time, and then you're exiled from the whole community, and it will spread like
yeah,
wildfire, and you will be known as a hoaxer, even if you get like the next Patterson footage. Like it would always be dismissed because of one hoax that you did long time ago. So yeah,
exactly.
honesty is everything in this community, really.
So that's why I'm like I say, these couple things that had happened to me that I'm gonna be discussing on Tony's show. I kind of held it for his, end there. Man, I really didn't want to say nothing about it, because people are gonna be like, yeah, okay,
Well, see, that's another thing
whatever.
is people are having experiences of extraordinary things that you can't explain, but
Right.
that's those are really going on, and we do have hoaxers and people who are tell stories a little bit more than what's actually going on, but then we have people who are there's actual crazy stuff going on. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've ran across some of those. It's got some stories out there that after you get done, it's like, wow, how long did it take you to make that one up? But then you
right,
get those
right,
ones that are just mind blowing. Some of the stories I've heard, it's like, you wonder, is there any truth to it? But when you really seriously listen to these people, and you start learning over, a period of time, you can pick up real quick by just the tone of their voice, how they're speaking, and you can look at their face and tell, is this really bothering them? And, is this something that's really ingrained in them? And, it don't
right.
take long to figure out who's being truthful and who ain't.
No,
There's some
no.
of them I feel kind of sorry for because man, it really does bother them. You know, it bothers them worse than what you would think it would.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. People get it's a traumatic experience. Especially people have seen them or they get bluff charged and stuff. I know. I had my first encounter and I got bluff charged a bit. It wasn't really a bluff charge, but it took me a couple months to get back in the woods, and I would have nightmares and stuff. You know, it's been a long time, but it'd always be I'd be running and trying to get somewhere, and the Sasquatch would come get me. He'd scoop me
Mm-hmm.
up, and then I'd wake up. That happened a lot. Because it is traumatic, especially if you love the woods and you know, I was always out there as a kid, and I still am. So it's scary to think sometimes that there's a huge giant thing out there and other creatures that
Right.
could potentially hurt you or make you to where you would you're never going to be seen again. So it is scary. It is traumatic.
Yeah.
It is fun though.
Yeah.
It's fun though. So it's a whole plethora of things that happens all at once when you have activity.
Right. Once you start getting a better understanding of what's going on and everything, you know, people's like, "Well, ain't you afraid when you go out by yourself?" Yeah, I go out still, but I call it more of a respecting fear. I respect
Yeah,
them
yeah.
for what they can do and what they would do if I'm not paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, you get a
So
range of emotions, especially by yourself. Your
right,
heart is racing. It's a roller coaster, and it's fun.
yeah,
It's fun.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, and the fun thing is too, a lot you hear funny stories, and I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but I had this guy. Man, this is great. I needed this one. Having one of them bad days, like I was telling you about earlier, things that's kind of going crazy. But I had a gentleman that I interviewed here a while back, and he was talking about that they'd went out to this particular site and everything. And you ever get a chance to talk to him, interview him, I'll send you his name and everything. He's super cool, super down to earth.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I would
know,
like that.
very, very knowledgeable. I mean, if I remember right, I'm thinking he's wrote some articles for different cryptid, type things. But he was talking about that they'd went out to this one particular site, camped out and everything, and he had gotten up really early the next morning, and call of nature was on him. So he gets out of the tent, proceeds to go over, away from everything, and was taking care of business. he, he said, in the process of doing so, like the way he put it, he had a methane explosion. And he said, in the process of that, he could hear a Bigfoot out there. He thought there was one out there, but after the methane incident, he could hear this Bigfoot actually kind of, and he just stopped. And he turned. He's like, "You liked that? You thought that was funny, didn't you?" And he goes, "That's the first time I'd ever heard one kind of chuckle like that." And I got to thinking about it. I thought, man, I'd never heard anybody go in the woods and fart and make a Bigfoot laugh. I mean, now that's great, but
Right.
you get good stories like that. One guy, this happened to us. I took a gentleman with me, and we went down this particular spot. And now this made my heart stop. I mean, boy, this made me jump. Thank goodness it wasn't what I thought it was. But I had parked on this gravel road and got out of the truck and was standing there, and I think I was fumbling with the parabolic or something. No, anyway, I was doing something, and he was out behind my truck, and he was probably about 15, 20 feet away, and one of them threw a couple of rocks at him, and you could hear these things hitting the ground back here. And he's like, man, they're throwing rocks. I'm thinking, man, I hope they don't hit my truck. I'm still
Right.
paying on this thing. Don't hit the truck. I knew he'd been in the bed of my truck. I knew he'd been in it, and I didn't, think too much about it. He was real careful about letting the tailgate down, putting it up, and all this. after we'd been there for a few minutes, I told him, I said, let's go down and check out another spot real quick, and then we'll come back. He goes, all right, well, we got in a truck. We hadn't moved yet. And I said, man, I'm just glad when they throwing rocks, they didn't hit my truck. I said, man, that'd have been bad, you know. Like I say, I still got a payment book on this thing. We rolled probably 20 feet, and the biggest boom. I mean, it shook this truck. I'm like, oh no, man, they really hit us with a good one. Oh no. And by chance, I happened to just spin around and I looked back. Come find out, he didn't latch my tailgate. My tailgate dropped down. Boy, hey
Oh
man,
yeah,
we can't
yeah,
be doing that. You know. So there's a lot of fun to it. I mean, it's not all just
yeah.
seriousness when it gets to the woods. I mean, there's a lot of fun in it. And
Yeah, you
like
gotta
I
have
say,
fun. You gotta have fun out
oh
there.
yeah,
Because most of the
yeah.
time nothing happens, So you gotta have fun and hiking around or enjoying nature and stuff. And
Oh yeah, we've had some pretty good times out there. You know, that's why I say I enjoy taking people with me and everything. Because a lot of times it's if you don't get anything, it's just watching the other people's experience, expressions and things they do, and when they run across something, how they act. That's always worth the trip.
yep,
So that's why I like taking people with me. Especially different ones that's never been out. I enjoy doing stuff like that.
yeah, exactly. I plan on trying to collaborate and stuff more with our researchers here in Michigan. And yeah, I had my buddy James. We had activity, and yeah, it was pretty crazy stuff. And uh, it's they get so close, and it is comical because they followed us. They were making grunts and whoops, and they finally threw something at us and getting it to trying to get us out of there. And it's they're very smart and stealthy.
Hmm.
It's almost unbelievable how stealthy and they can be. Because
Right.
in that instance, they were following us. But we couldn't hear no footsteps or anything. But they would make a grunt or a low whoop, and we would hear that and we would react, and it's all on camera. And we're like, did you hear that? And it's like, yeah, it sounded like a grunt and stuff. And it's amazing just how close they can get without you actually realizing they're there.
Oh yeah. I had the
Because
one walk up to me while I was laying. I was in one of my old army shelter halves, and it's basically just a half a pup tent is what these things are. And this has been well, I was down there to one of the original spot that we was going to. We had the young ones come in camp and all this, but it was real early in the morning. It was right about daybreak, and I was laying on my side facing toward the inside of this shelter half, and I'm laying there and I'm somewhat awake, listening to the birds starting to chime, and all this. And I got to hearing that heavy, raspy breathing. And I laid there and I thought, man, is that my buddy down there snoring or what is that? So I laid there real still just to, try to tune in and listen. By this time, I'm really getting woke up, because this is really, it's obvious, there's something there. And it turns out there was one standing right there over us. And you could hear that deep, almost like an asthmatic type breathing,
right,
just a real heavy breathing. And I thought, man, I hate to move. I don't want to, and because I don't know what it's going, what its intentions are or anything. So I'm gonna play it cool. So I just laid there, and directly, I don't know, after a pretty good long while, exactly time wise, I couldn't tell you. It was a good while. If finally you could hear it turn and just walk off. It's like he came in just to check on us, see what we was about, and then once it figured it out, it was gone. But
yeah, that's always creepy, and you always hear a lot about them doing that, going into the camp or looking, trying to peek into the tents or vehicles,
mm-hmm,
and but always when everyone's sleeping, creeping up towards the tents and trying to check out
mm-hmm,
people. It's like they are observing everything all the time. So like they obviously watch everyone go to sleep. They wait
right.
and time out and say, it's been long enough. Everyone's probably asleep. Let's go in there, and that takes intelligence. That takes planning and strategy, and
Oh yeah,
a lot of things that just animals wouldn't do.
right. But it makes it worth it, you know. I don't mind them coming in. First few
Right.
times I ever done that, I got kind of nerved out about it, but now it's like I'm starting to understand and realize they're more curious than anything.
Yeah, they're
You know,
always
I don't.
watching what you're doing, and
Yeah, I just think I think their curiosity level is extremely high, but their caution level is right there with it. You know, they want to see, but they know they got to stay back too.
yeah,
So,
and they know exactly like up to that line. It seems like of just how far you
hmm
can see. Like they'll be right at that line.
oh yeah, yeah. It's well, no. When I was down with, matter of fact, I was down with Squatch Man, right there. Oh, what was it? Right there in the first part of November of this past year.
Yep.
I was down there with him. We was in the woods, and we'd been calling them up and all this and everything, and we just all retired back to the campfire and was sitting around the campfire in our chairs and just talking. Wasn't doing, trying to do anything with them or anything like that. And the whole time we're watching the eye shine come right up just outside of the firelight, and they're right there all around us. I mean, we were getting all kinds of crazy colors, white, red, just in like a kind of an off yellow color, and I
So
mean it
they were
was just
actually changing colors. You could actually observe different colors without
oh yeah,
you were not shining any other lights on them, right?
no, 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 we don't do that.
Right,
No,
right,
because if you go to start shining light on them, they'll be gone.
right.
You
And
know,
I know different color lights can. Obviously, you weren't using flashlights, but different color lights can make different animals shine different colors. If you
right.
have different hunting lights, red lights and green lights, they'll shine, make animals shine different than a normal flashlight. That's the only reason I asked. Which so in the
Yeah,
firelight wouldn't cause multiple colors variation, anyways.
yeah. Well, see, we were there was a small gifting area just on out in the woods away from the campfire and everything. So when you got out to the gifting area where they had some little treats and stuff for them, once you got out there, you could look back and you could see the campfire through the trees, but it was
Right.
so dimmed down at that point, with the trees and everything. It just didn't. It was pretty much dark out there where we were at.
Yeah.
Unless you
So
turn
that
around, you could.
and again, you
Unless,
said they were self illuminating.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We went out there and was watching. You know, the eyes, the red eyes. I mean, it was just really pretty. And while Squatchman was out there doing his thing, calling them in and all this, we had just a very small group that was there with them and or with us, and I'd kind of peeled off to the side there just a little bit and was trying to listen more because when you get a few people together, somebody's going to kind of shuffle around and you're going
Right.
to get the
Yep.
sound. So I'm trying to get away a little bit just so I can focus more on listening out to one direction. And I could clearly hear the one walking right up to me. It was real cautious, a real slow, easy pace, but you could hear it. For whatever reason, I kind of walked that direction just a little bit toward it and started talking to it, like you're trying to get like a stray dog come to you, it's like telling it's okay, it's all right. And it got within probably 15 feet and stopped. You could hear it out there shuffling around. And when it stopped, I stopped. I wasn't going to push it.
Yeah.
And I could hear it shuffling around. I just kept calmly talking and everything. Indirectly, it just kind of turned and went on back out about its business. And, yeah, it's really cool encounters. I think it's all in, personally, I think it's all in how you present yourself. If you go out there and you don't show yourself as a threat, uh, don't go out there yelling and screaming. Like I truly enjoyed the show Finding Bigfoot, and I'm not trying to throw bad rocks here or nothing, but I enjoyed the show. But all that hooting, hollering, beating, banging, and stuff that they did and everything, I'm sorry. That just, it might draw them close enough to wonder what in the world kind of fit you're having, but
Right.
they're not gonna they're not gonna come in and do if you just go out there and be cool about yourself. You
Yeah, I
know.
think honestly, I think that maybe it seems like in Indiana and in Michigan that call blasting doesn't seem like it would be needed, or because everyone here would hear them. Like
Right.
there's too many houses, people close by, so maybe it's a West Coast, actual wilderness mountain range where you actually need to call blast, so they can hear you on the other side of the ridge. Where like where we're
Right.
at, it doesn't make sense to like make your presence known to everyone. That's
No.
why I kind of do lower whoops and lower sounding stuff. It's
Right.
I've got great responses from that.
Well, I know you was talking about the lower whoops. Now I did have one instance where I took a gentleman, him and his buddy was going up here to Purdue University, and one of his things that he was studying was he's wanting to be a wildlife guy.
Mm,
So he was studying all that. And he's his idea was he's wanting to prove on a scientific level that Bigfoot existed. And when I got with him, I was like, "Well, would you want to go to the woods and check it out?" And he's like, "Sure." He said, "I've always been following it. Everything I've learned is on the internet. I ain't really been out there in the field doing this." So I took him and his other buddy from college here, and we went out. And we was out there for, oh, wow, several hours. It was getting like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Finally, I was like, "Well, you know what? It's dark. It's late. Let me just do a whoop, see if anybody's even home." I was just kind of messing around. And again, here's another one of the funny things that happened. These two guys are at the back of my truck, and they're standing kind of apart. They're got their phones. They're trying to listen with the recorders and all this. I said, "All right, guys, hang on." So I'm a little bit further away from them. I done a real easy whoop, and as soon as I done that, you could hear them all through the woods just bark, 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 bark. And they're like, "What was that?" And I said, "They're here. They're just letting us know they're here."
right.
The time I turned around and looked at them two, they're shoulder to shoulder hugging the back of my truck. They're like, "Dude, what in the world?" Like, I tried telling you,
Right.
but we didn't have no problems with them that night. They just kind of let us know they were there, and everything was really good. That's why I love taking people out, man. I mean, I do. I can't promise that it's going to happen all the time, every time. I can't do that.
Right.
But it just seems like that after the things that's happened to me, and after talking to one particular searcher and then hearing it again from another one, pretty much getting the same answer on the questions I had about this, I have found it. And I'm not saying I'm anything special, because I'm not. I'm not gonna. I don't want to claim that. I'm no expert. I'm no professional. I'm none of that. But after these incidents, or these, I want to call them incidents, but these things have occurred, every time I go to the woods, I'm either finding evidence or I'm having some type of an encounter. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if they've gotten used to me in the areas I go to. I can't explain that. All I know is when I go, I'm not alone. And I mean, I walk down a trail. I know they're with me. I know they're out there. I can just sense it. I can tell they're following. They're watching. Maybe from a distance, but they're watching. Uh, one spot I went to, I pulled over and was wanting to. I was taking some pictures of a particular uh, tree structure that they had done. And in the process of taking them, I just got this feeling, man, I am being watched. They're out here. I know they are. And then it came to my mind, hey, you got your phone in your hand, just start taking random pics. Just kind of turn and just start clicking for no reason.
Right. Trying to get something.
Right. And I done that, and then I sent these pictures to a a lady I know. She's in my group, and she really gets into the pictures. Really knows how to dissect them down and what to look. What she's doing. and she got a hold of me. She's like, "Wow, you really had some friends that day, didn't you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She started telling me what to look for and where. I was like, "Wow, I guess that feeling was right." There was several juvenile out there, and even I took a short video of one, just kind of panned, through the woods there real slow, just wanted to kind of give everybody an idea where I was at.
Yeah.
And I sent that to her, and she's like, "Hey, go back and check such and such time frame." And I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, look back here. You got one that went across." Sure enough, you could see it. It went past between the trees. And I was like, "Wow, I didn't even know I got that one."
Right, they're so
But
quick and elusive. You don't see
yeah,
them.
and if they get out there a ways on you, man, I mean, they'll blend in. I mean,
Yeah.
they're some of the best camouflage people I've ever seen. But yeah, I didn't think I got anything that day, but I knew I sure had that feeling that I wasn't alone. Uh, Photos didn't lie. There were several out there.
And that's all in your group, your Facebook group, Bigfooting Indiana.
Well, I've got most of the pictures up. I still got some pictures on my other laptop I hadn't put up yet, but I'm gonna keep going back through and digging up the ones I really want to put out. I put up most of them, and but I haven't put them all up. There's some I'm still kind of on the fence on, and if I've got my doubts, I ain't going to put it out there. Because I
Right.
want to make sure before because like I said, it goes back to being honest, and I don't want to put something out and say, yeah, this is it, and it's not me. So
Right.
I
Exactly.
try to
You
be pretty
you you
cautious.
you got to be honest with your work and stuff. Yep.
Right. But yeah, like I say, now just you guys, whoever's watching, and even yourself, uh, I'll be posting on the page here on my Bigfooting Indiana page pretty soon. When we have our outing and everything. Uh,
All right.
the only thing that there's no charge to come to these. I don't charge anything for that. The only thing you got to do is pay for your campsites. And right now, what I'm trying to do is find the most economical places to go. Like this past year, we was at Yellowwood State Forest, and those are $13 a night for your campsite.
It's not
And
too bad.
no, they're pretty. They're somewhat primitive though. There's no
All
electricity,
right.
no water, but they do have really nice restroom facilities there. They're kind of a glorified outhouse, if you will, but they do keep them up nice and everything. Uh, Good spots to park campers, stuff like that. But I try to get, I want to try to keep it, the cost down for everybody because, like I said, just putting gas in a vehicle to get there is, a chore in itself. So
Yep.
ain't no need in getting there and had to spend, 50 to $100 a spot or something like that, or have reservations. I'm trying to avoid all that. I want to try to
Yeah, I've
keep it
been
as cheap
looking
as
into the
I can.
same stuff, because I plan on doing something in the fall, and yeah, it's a lot of work trying to plan everything out and make it
Oh
go
yeah,
smoothly, and
yeah. I got a big wake up call on that first outing. I thought, man, this will be no big deal to put it together. And once I got going, I was like, holy smokes, what did I get into?
right, right,
But nah, I'm looking forward to more of them, man. And, hey, y'all are
yeah,
more than welcome. As soon as I put it up there, hopefully I get to see you guys come down and hang out with us over the weekend. I'm not for sure exactly who all I'm going to have, speakers and what we're going to be doing for sure, but I'm going to try to get that all, lined out and everything before it happens. And then I'll be posting it on the page. And like I say, it's open to anybody, everybody's welcome.
like yeah, and I definitely would make it if I can. I know I got some things planned in this for this summer and fall, and you're invited too. So I hopefully one of
Cool.
these days we can get together and and team up on some research and try to get something on film and
Right.
have a good time.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I got some family that lives down in Kentucky and also down in Tennessee, and I know there's been reports up out of them two states too, and
Oh yeah.
I'm really kind of itching to get down that way. I know it's getting. I try to keep the page more focused around the state of Indiana, but I'm we keep it open to other states as well. It's just
Yeah.
our main
And plus
focus is
wherever
the
your
state.
research goes.
Right. So if I get a chance to go out of state and do something, hey, I'm still going to put it out there.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
it's like I tell everybody, and I'll even tell you, you know, if you guys got pictures or anything like that you want to post, man, hey, put them up. You know, we'd love to see it. You know, I'm not trying to
exactly.
I'm not trying to upstage anybody or anything like that. I just trying to offer a spot for everybody to be comfortable and happy and be able to share information and stories and learn from each other and just have a good, like I say before, a family oriented place to be and hang out, and not have to worry about a lot of bad stuff.
Exactly. Just have respect, and we're all trying to, find the truth of our own encounters and the truth of what's out there. So,
Hmm.
that's all we're doing. Everyone has their own evidence, and we're just trying to find the truth of what we experienced. And everyone's
Right.
trying their best, trying to get the stuff on film and get the audio. And I think it's all pieces in a puzzle, and they're all going to help add up to finally get it
Oh yeah.
recognized. Or because I already know, and they're real. I
Oh
know they're
yeah.
real. I'm not too. I was for a lot of years. I wasn't too worried about proving it to people, having my own experiences, but now it's good to actually get evidence, and because I got showing people who used to not believe, and they start hearing some of the grunts and whoops and tree knocks, and then just like you said, their face lights up, and they're like, whoa. They've been out in the woods
Hmm.
all their life, and they're realizing there's something more out there, and it's fun and exciting, and people need to know too. It's a safety thing too. People need to know what's out in the woods.
Right. Yeah, because here lately, I noticed there's been a lot more critters out there too. I mean, we've been hearing reports of mountain lion in our areas around here, and
Right.
I'd even seen some trail cam pictures of them. You know, these are recent pictures too, and so we got to be careful. I mean, there's more than just a squatch out there,
Oh yeah.
but we really just got to kind of watch out. And it does help to have people come on if they have reports of something like that. In their area, it's good for them to put it on the page and kind of put a little warning out. So if you do go out in that area, you know kind of more what to be watching for and what to expect.
Exactly.
But
You need to always be aware of what's going on around you, and so. Well, that's we went over an hour a little bit, which was fine, but I think it's a good time to shut it down. So thanks for coming on. It was great talking with you again, and I'm definitely gonna have you on again. We're gonna do some group discussions here, and probably another about next month and stuff. I'm guessing. So
hey,
to get
sounds
things
good,
going.
man. Just let me know.
Yep, I will for sure.
I definitely appreciate you having me on here, and thank you for having me on. And I look forward to coming back on again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And uh, you, a little tongue tied for a second. If you want to give everyone information about your Facebook group and anywhere else they got where they can contact you, or anywhere else they can see your evidence and stuff.
Just go to if you get on Facebook, just go to Facebook and go to Bigfooting, Indiana. I'm the founder and admin. My other two admins is Jay DeFord and Alan Pemberton, and one of us will put you in with no problem. If you want to get in contact with me, just shoot me a PM. I have no problem getting back with people. I try to get back with everybody as quickly as I possibly can. If you have any questions or comments or something you would like to discuss or whatever, just hit me up on a PM. That's usually the fastest way to get a hold of me. If you can't get a hold of me on a PM, hey, get a hold of one of my other admins and let them know you're trying to reach me. And, that's not an issue at all. If you all my evidence, everything I've got, I try to keep it right there on the page. That way they're not having to run everywhere and look. So yeah, I mean everything's right there. Just you're more than welcome to join in, and we'd love to have you guys along.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I'll definitely get a hold of you soon.
Alrighty, sir. Well, thank you again. Now,
Yep. And thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the live show. This Saturday we're gonna have Willem Soward from Northern Michigan. He'll be on, give us some of his experiences. So tune in for that show at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, everyone, have a good night.
night.